Paths to victory time here on Crossover Thursday. David Drogemeyer, one of the great duo over there, Locked On Chargers. Alex Lanty, Locked On Cardinals. For the Cardinals, this is a we don't know what the hell they are yet still scenario. Okay, off the heels of the comeback victory against the 49ers 2 weeks ago, they get absolutely embarrassed against the Packers. I'm going to go first because there's less margin for error for the Cardinals when it comes to paths to victory. Okay, number one, and this isn't fair, but it's necessary at this point. Kyler Murray needs to be special. Kyler Murray has been one of the more polarizing characters over the season because we've seen the oh my God moments that I call them. We've seen them. We were reminded what he can do. And then we see a lot of mundane, less than average football being played in key moments. And we just don't know which one's going to eat the other. So right now, Kyler Murray being special, and I'll add an addendum to it, is they need to run with him a little bit more. And that's the biggest thing for me, is keeping opposing defenses on their heels. And that's something that will immediately crack a game plan if they can't stop Kyler Murray. And he only has to run the ball 2 or 3 times. It doesn't have to be 10, 12 times. That's the biggest path to victory for me, for the Cardinals, is Kyler Murray needs to be special, especially with the state of the defense right now. What's the biggest path to victory for you with the Los Angeles Chargers?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one for me is contain Kyler Murray. I mean, it has to be. And I know it's like, well, hey, you want to get Kyler Murray running the ball? And, well, yeah, of course you do, because the guy's electric with the ball in his hands. Like, he's one of the fastest athletes on the football field anytime that he is on that football field. And he's got some shake and bake, and he can really make some things happen. And unfortunately for the Chargers, like, that game was 23-16 against the Broncos, but if you watched it, it was not anywhere close to that score. The Chargers dominated that game for the better part of 3 quarters. And the Denver Broncos did not score a single point until 10 minutes left in the football game. And that kind of coincided with Christian Fulton going out with injury, and also with Bo Nix running the ball a lot more and scrambling. And he had 6 scrambles for 61 yards in that game. And, well, guess what? Kyler Murray is way better at scrambling than Bo Nix is. He's a lot faster. He's a lot more electric and athletic. And the Chargers have to contain him. You have to make sure you are disciplined in your rush lanes, and you have to make sure and keep him in the pocket as much as possible. When he gets out on the numbers, he can make big plays in a flash, 20, 30, 40, 50 yards down the field, and you're chasing him, trying to figure out how to get him on the ground. And by that time, it's already over. So containing Kyler Murray, especially on the ground with the legs, keeping him in the pocket, staying disciplined in your rush lanes, is going to be uber important against a Lamar Jackson type of athlete with the legs.
Number 2 for me, conventional wisdom would lend one to think it's contain the duo pass rushers with some sort of chipping, 12, 13 personnel, whatever it is. For me, it's 10 plus targets for Trey McBride. With Marvin Harrison Jr. playing, with Marvin Harrison Jr. not playing, Trey McBride needs to be the number 1 target for Kyler Murray. Trey McBride is special. We saw it last week, 8 for 96, and it wasn't in garbage time. They weren't down 40, and he had 70 yards receiving in a game that didn't, at a point in the game that didn't matter. Trey McBride is special, okay? He no longer has to be that blocking tight end at times. When they drafted Tip Raymond, they have Isaiah Higgins. They've got guys who can do that for him in 12 or 13 personnel, where he can actually be a pass-catching tight end like a Jimmy Graham, as opposed to needing to be a George Kittle. And that's something to unlock this offense, irrespective of who is healthy and who isn't. If Trey McBride's healthy and Kyler Murray's healthy, that needs to be the one option out of the 1 and 1A option in the passing attack, because he can get in space, he can run over linebackers, he can run over safeties, he can run over corners, and he's got great hands, and he has a nose for the end zone. So that's number 2 for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's a dangerous weapon, and he is a big part of the offense. As you were talking about earlier, he is emerging as one of the better pass-catching tight ends in the league, and he has a lot of opportunity and a lot of targets out there, especially if Marvin Harrison Jr. is not able to go. He is going to be thrust into that spotlight, and it's going to be up to him to perform and go out there and make the most of those opportunities. For me, it's punish the Cardinals on the ground. You have to take advantage of that weakness. The Cardinals are giving up the 4th most rushing yards per game allowed, with 153 yards per game on average. The Chargers have averaged 120 plus rushing yards in the 3 games that they have won and less than 70 in their 2 losses. So their ability to run the football effectively, it directly coincides with their ability to win football games. So last week, the game plan was throw the ball more. And I mean, it's a lot easier to do that when Patrick Surtain II goes out with an injury. But they saw some opportunities to be able to do that. And so if they're able to establish the line of scrimmage and run the ball effectively, that's going to set up that play action. And that's where Justin Herbert is going to be able to go to work in the passing game.
I'm sitting Saquon Barkley and starting J.K. Dobbins this week. Let's just put it that way. I mean, especially with Gus Edwards still out.
Yeah,
right?
He's on IR.
Oh, yes. And then you have Kamani Vidal, I believe his name is, who's the backup who scored a touchdown last week.
On a wheel route. Real nice play.
That's it. I mean, and the thing with that, and I'll put the icing on the cherry on top here, is the Cardinals have been terrible at time of possession. And that's something, the best way to keep Kyler Murray off the field is just run the hell out of the ball with, efficiently. So for the Cardinals, for the final one for me, and it's got to be on the defensive side of the ball, being opportunistic when Justin Herbert does throw the ball, take chances. It doesn't matter if they're big at this point. Like, the pass rush isn't there. Justin Herbert has been, surgical at times. He's also thrown some really bad balls that have been intercepted. So I think all of that culminating into one path to victory for the defensive side of the ball for the Cardinals is keep things in front of you, bend, don't break. And they did that really well against the 49ers between the 20s. Obviously, you're not playing soft. You're not giving up yardage, but it's a bend, don't break thing, especially with the state of their defense at this point. If they can turn Justin Herbert over once may be good enough to stay in this game, twice, definitely. I mean, we saw them turn the ball over 3 times with the 49ers. But this could get ugly very quickly as well. And I think that the Cardinals gave away the last matchup with the Chargers. They were up, I believe, 2 scores, and then the Chargers just came back in the fourth quarter and took care of business, got a dub at State Farm Stadium. The Cardinals need to win or get close to winning the time of possession battle is my last one. They just have to, or this is going to be more of a bloodbath than people think on paper.
Yeah, no question. I feel like this is a team with the Arizona Cardinals that does not want to play from behind. Like, they absolutely do not want to play from behind. And I mean, obviously that's easy to say. No team wants to play from behind, but I don't know if they have the firepower to be able to throw themselves back into the game if they do get majorly behind. And the one thing the Chargers did fantastically last week was dominate that time of possession against the Broncos. 37 minutes to almost 23 minutes of time of possession. They kept their opponent off the field, opposing offense on the field, and their defense as fresh as they possibly could. And speaking of that defense, it's the number 1 defense by points per game allowed in the NFL. So Jesse Minter it deserves all his flowers, all the credit in the world from turning around a defense that for the last 3.5 years were probably bottom 5 in the league to now being the number 1 defense in the NFL is pretty special. So we'll see what happens. We'll see which team of these 2 teams are going to be able to run the ball. I think that's going to be critical to the performance of each of these football teams and who's able to capitalize on a mistake on defense. And like you said, we know turnovers, when they are created, they are complete momentum shifters, and they could be the difference in a win and a loss.